Welcome to Unscripted Gaming. My name is Josh.
My name is Mike.
My name is Ray.
Good job there, Mike. You really nailed that on focus, on point, like this podcast is going to be, because that's how we do here at Unscripted Gaming.
How
we don't ramble.
No.
We don't go off on tangents. We're
But-
laser focused.
Man,
Focused like an
all I can think about
ultralight
is
laser
episode 54.
beam.
Every time you say
The
that
one
we're
where-
professional, the first thing that comes to mind is episode 54.
The
comes
one where
to that-
Mike and Josh were
It's
left
just
alone.
Mike
Time
and Josh
worry.
just talking back and forth. And I'm like, all right, this is going to go somewhere eventually. It doesn't. It just never does.
Wow.
You didn't,
I liked it, though.
Stan. You didn't listen to the meta conversation that was happening beneath the surface.
most of the
That's where the
conversation was
real
like,
meat
man,
of that podcast was.
He's going to hate editing this. I was like,
Oh,
You're
so
like-
you did hear the meta. You did hear the meta.
That's all that matters.
so,
All that matters.
we should, can I start this off with something that we all play? I wanna
Yes?
start this off with a little bit of
yes.
Pokemon Go.
Fuck yeah, man.
I mean,
Pokemon Go.
I've just stopped playing it. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't turned the app on in a week. Because there was a lot of
I play it every day
there
still.
was a lot of issues with it that kept me from like fully enjoying it, and the issues just got worse with the latest update. And Niantic is catching a lot of flack from the community because of it. So the issue that didn't work is the tracker, the little footstep thing that would tell you how far away a Pokemon was. That hasn't worked in a couple weeks, and Niantic has not coming out with a solution for it. So there was a third-party website called Pokevision, and they got it working, but Niantic considered it cheating. And so in the latest update, it completely shuts out all third-party software from interfacing with their API. So Pokevision's dead. And by the way, they didn't fix the tracker bug. All they did was they just removed the tracking system out of Pokemon Go.
So I've heard heard a couple people speculate about this, and
Working as
I
intended.
kind of agree that they actually did that on purpose. It wasn't a bug that the tracker stopped working, and that it was an intentional thing that they did, and they're just calling it a bug. And I think that is because they have had such problems with people using that as an excuse and to go places they shouldn't be, to get hurt, to do things they shouldn't be doing. And, you had that problem a little bit in Ingress, but on the scale that it is, Niantic has a responsibility to do something about that and try and come up with a solution to that problem. And until they find a good solution to try and keep people from doing those things, they just had to kind of axe the whole feature until they could come up with a solution that would work and also discourage people from doing stupid things.
I know Mike has something to say.
Yeah. I think that's probably like part of it. I think it also sounded like it was just like the server load too was just super strenuous with all that data, so they probably took it offline to like upscale it a little better. Those kind of problems have been annoying for playing the game. I do appreciate that Niantic has really kind of stepped up their whole, like, at least communicating about these issues, because it used to be like everything's working as intended, minor text fixes, and no mention of other issues. But the past couple of days, they've been much more forthcoming about changes and what's going on and stuff like that. So that's the kind of thing. Those are the kinds of things that I appreciate and make me willing to give things like this a little bit more patience. But I just want to have the game work, please.
Yeah,
Please.
Niantic has actually been like, for as many people that play their game, it's somewhere in the like, they have 50 million people playing every single day. That's obnoxious with like 11 million uniques, something like that, every so often. I thought their communication actually has been very poor because they actually didn't communicate. And that's a testament because we're sitting here speculating why they removed the tracker software. We don't know.
I mean, it's you should check because they have gotten a little bit better. It hasn't been great throughout the lifetime of Pokemon Go, but they've really kind of understood that talking to the community solves a lot of problems. So
Yeah.
they have gotten a little bit better about it. I will give them credit for that.
There was also a new bug.
Yeah, and it's a huge learning curve. Niantic was part of Google. They're doing this thing. They had that game. It was a pretty Niantic, not Niantic. Ingress was a pretty moderately successful game, but I just do not think that they could have envisioned the way this blew up. Like, even when I first heard about Pokemon Go, like, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, that's exciting. I'll download it. I'll play it. I had completely forgotten about it until it came out. I was like, oh, that's cool. Maybe some Pokemon fans will play. And then the entire world started playing it. And I just don't think that they were prepared or equipped to handle that kind of growth and that kind of explosion. And, it takes a long time to kind of recover from that meteoric success. I mean, yes, it's success, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with its own growing pains and its own problems and challenges. So
I'm sitting back watching what probably was one of the most successful games, mobile games possibly in the world, and I'm watching Niantic just poorly handle it. Like, there's a bug out that came with the latest patch to where your odds of the Pokemon escaping your Pokeball, no matter what, even something as low as a 10 CP Pidgey, have increased, some reporting up by substantial numbers. So people are just like, there's just this Caterpie here, let me just go ahead and catch you and move on with my day. And it just breaks out the ball and then runs away. It's like, oh, okay, that was a waste. And, the Pokeball is actually...
Nah.
But at least they said something. They've come out and said, like, hey, we know this is a thing. We are working on it right now. We will have a fix shortly. Like, they're trying to get better about their communication, and that's something that I appreciate. That they are trying to learn as they go, and they're getting better about it. And they're like, okay, you know what? We need to talk more. We need to own up to this stuff up front and be like, as soon as we know something, we need to get out there. We need to get in front of it. We need to tell people that we know it, we recognize it, and we're working on it. And I think
that's just good
that shows
engagement.
growth on their part. Well, I mean, it's different when you have a pool of 100,000 players and go to a pool of 100 million players. Like that, the way you handle those conversations is different.
I think I'll agree to a certain extent with you, and the only reason I agree to a certain extent is because there's a certain point where I say, how can you not expect a billion people? Because literally the bare minimum to play this game was have a smartphone. That was it. How can you not and it's based on a 20-year-old, one of the largest selling franchises in the world. How would you not expect everyone above the age of 40 to at least try this? I mean, 40 and below to at least try this game, so long as they have the smartphone. And I get they probably.
I mean, there are plenty of mobile games that are tied to beloved franchises of one kind or another that don't have this kind of success or this kind of longevity, because not only did they get so many players and they more than they probably expected, but they also have been doing it for a long time. Like, when I go down to my downtown area of my very moderately sized Midwestern city, and I still see hundreds of people every day down there playing.
No.
Like, even I didn't expect it to still be going on, like, as many people this long after release, but they're still there.
Oh yeah, they're definitely still there. I mean, the game is still going.
So I don't think you could have forecasted that. Like, I just don't think you could have been prepared for this. But you know what? They're doing their best.
They're doing something. I mean, I still stand by the game as it stands right now. It's not very good. Like, I know a lot of people, every time I say this, like, at work or amongst a group of friends, they're like, what's wrong with it? It's great. I get to catch Pokemon. I was like, take the word Pokemon and the Pokemon property out of it. Take your nostalgia glasses off. and just make it any old game, and it really is, for all intents and purposes, not that good of a game. Like,
I mean, I also like. I think a lot of people like I understand like people want a full Pokemon experience from this game, but I also kind of like, I'm not dying for Pokemon Go to have like a super in-depth battle system. Like that's what the new Pokemon game is for. Like if you want that, it's there and you can absolutely still have that game. It's just that like I don't know. I just see this as like a fun way to get out and walk and do some like basically play Pokemon Snap, but like on the go. I don't know. Maybe I just have like low expectations and I'm not
app description, but
I'm not demanding enough as a consumer. But I never really expected it like
and you know
the
what? Here's the
AAA
thing.
Pokemon experience here.
Even when I've gone out specifically to catch Pokemon or battle at gyms or stuff like that, like even when the game hasn't worked because the servers were down or something like that, I still had a good time. Because I was outside in my downtown interacting with human beings that I never would have met otherwise, even if we're just bitching about Niantic together. Like, oh, did you get kicked too? Me too. Did you get that pincer over there before the servers went down? Hell yeah, I did. And I was like, you know what? That's amazing. That's special. And nothing else ever has given me that.
It's an absolutely
on
great
a
social
regular
experience.
basis.
I'm saying that as a game, it is actually.
Oh yeah,
a
the game's
bad
not that
game.
good. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just a mediocre game. It's an all right game.
So catching the Pokemon, the whole flicking of the thing, the depth of field, especially when you're trying to catch like a Zubat, it's just awful. And also the whole thing.
Dude, I'm a Zubat catching master. I got that shit down. I got my spin just right.
F Zubats.
Swing!
They are the bane of my existence.
Swing.
The whole thing about how the incense works, where incense will work the second you hit that button, even while the app is running in the background. But if you want to raise an egg, you better have that app open at all times, even though the GPS on your phone is constantly on. It's like the game is like demanding, but it's also punishing for certain things. They haven't quite. Also, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The GPS tracking for how many steps it takes to hatch an egg effing broke. From the ground up, that thing just is wrong. It is mathematically wrong. I will walk 5 miles and it'll say, "Good job walking your 1 kilometer." Like, no. You are mistaken, sir. When I was in San Diego the other day and I decided to walk around the city with the app open, with my Fitbit on to make sure, I'm going to make sure we check this 1-to-1. It said when I walked around all of San Diego, I had walked 1 kilometer. But my Fitbit said, "Congratulations on hitting your 10,000 step goal." It is.
Sounds like you need to walk more.
Well, did you have the app open?
I had the app open the entire time. I was hitting gyms. That's the ridiculous thing. I was hitting gyms. I was hitting Pokestops. It's just
But
wrong.
like the screen was.
You know what?
Like the screen
You were-
was on
you were
and
probably-
such. Because that's what it probably is.
What's that?
The screen, like, was your
No,
screen
he was
locked?
actually.
No, it wasn't locked.
What he's not telling you is he was actually on a Segway going 12 miles an
Are you
hour,
done?
so the
Are
app
you
was
done?
not registering.
There we go. But yeah, like
And
I still
you gotta
think
stay below 10 miles an hour.
I still think even though like some of the finer points of the gameplay aren't like the most engaging thing in the world. Like my wife the other day, she was telling me that everyone in her office was freaking out because there was a Porygon like that just showed up in the office, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like that's like cool, and I just think it's kind of neat.
I will always remember the day that the Gyarados had showed up to the place that I was hanging out at one day, and somebody yelled, "Hey, there's a Gyarados over here," and everybody's like, "Man, bullshit, stop fooling." But everybody kind of got up and like headed over there like, I guess we'll see what's going on. And then Gyarados comes up, we're like, holy shit, there's a Gyarados. And everybody's freaking out, and like when people catch them, they're like screaming and yelling and high five. It was a good time.
So one of the reasons
All
I
right.
started
Gyarados, by the
playing
way.
is, let's say I catch that Gyarados. All right, well, fine, great, I caught the Gyarados. What do I do with it?
You level that shit up and you battle it at a gym, motherfucker.
Have you played
Or
a
you
tab
leave it at
battle?
a gym and you get free star. Yeah, it's fine.
It's awful. It actually.
There are worse.
It's not great.
There are worse battle systems out
I
there.
can't think
This is
of
true.
one. I cannot, for the life of me, think of one. Neither can you. By your silence.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah, it's called Warframe.
What's
What? I'm just kidding. Who said
No,
that?
it's called the original Tomb Raider games, or
Oh,
any game with
Jesus.
tank controls.
Please no.
I would rather play Pokemon than I would play a game with tank controls. Fuck
Oh,
those
God.
games.
I mean, like, if you're talking like the original Resident Evil, that's like a treasure classic.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that the controls are garbage, and I'd rather play Pokemon Go.
Whoa. All right. I mean, agree to disagree on that one. All right, because I also feel the same way about tank controls. It's what keeps me from the original Resident Evil series. But Pokemon Go aside, I want to move on to a game that me and Mike are probably going to get. Possibly Josh. I don't know. So there's this space game.
Ooh. I actually want to talk about. I played Inside.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Can I talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Inside is like another mostly story-based, like 2D puzzle platformer thing from the people who made Limbo.
Which is a great game.
It's a cool game. It's their first game in about almost like since Limbo, if you're not counting like the various ports of Limbo. It's been about 5-ish years, I think. And I played through it. Yeah, and I don't know if I just didn't. It didn't quite do it for me for the way it did. It worked for a lot of other people. Like, if you guys ever get a chance, I mean, first of all, it's a very short game. And it has a lot of really cool story moments. Like the art and sound design are really cool, and have a lot of like really. There's really like a lot of cool like kind of story sequences and stuff. But it just, for me, I had a hard time really getting into just like the raw like actual gameplay of it. Like, it's like, yeah, there's cool story moments every little like half an hour or so, but between then it's just like I mean, it's pretty straight. It's like a physics-based puzzle game, so it's like pretty straightforward. As in, it kind of, it's like the best way to say this. It felt like you'd walk into a puzzle and be like, oh, I immediately understand the solution, but it just takes you 20 minutes to actually do the solution, which is, I don't know.
So you know what to do, but it doesn't mean you necessarily can like execute it because of mechanics or just the complexity of that.
Exactly. It's like there's simple puzzle, like it's a simple puzzle, but it just takes like it's just like a 20-minute chore to like actually complete it and just to progress the story on and stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's there is some cool story there, but it kind of felt like it. This is a very kind of like bad comparison, so I shouldn't even make it. But it kind of felt like Dark Souls, but without like the really rich lore of Dark Souls. So it's kind of like a vague kind of narrative. I mean, there's some pretty clear points here and there, but it's just, I don't know. It wasn't really like satisfying. Like it didn't really, I don't know. It just didn't really. It didn't really work for me. I mean,
Isn't
like,
there supposed to be
like
like
I
a
said that.
secret ending to Inside? I don't know.
Yeah, I did see the secret ending, and again, it's still just kind of. It was like, yeah, I get it, but like I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay, good.
It was just like, yeah, I get it, but.
So I'm gonna save for $20 and wait for a price drop, is what you're saying.
I thought it was really cool. I think it definitely is the front runner for like the what the fuck, unscripted gaming moment of the year, in there. But it just, for me, like as someone who spent a ton of time playing The Witness earlier this year, and think it's one of the best games that's come out this year. I know Inside isn't really a puzzle game, but The Witness is so much more engaging from a gameplay perspective. I know they're very different games in a lot of ways. I mean, there isn't really platforming in The Witness, but it's just like the core puzzles are just so much more interesting and just fun to do. That it's just a lot of times like it's just a bummer because a lot of times the core gameplay felt like a chore to like just an obstacle to get through, and not really something I savored and enjoyed. I mean, there's some cool atmospheric moments, but it was just, I don't know. It was kind of I guess. I mean, it's a better game than Limbo, I think, in a lot of ways, but I don't know. I just never really got into like the gameplay.
Do you think that it was partially ruined by the hype that was around it? Because I felt like for the first 2 or 3 weeks that it had come out, maybe even longer, like people were constantly talking about it and talking about how amazing it was and talking about the thing at the end and trying to dance around it without getting spoilers. Like, do you think that kind of potentially may have played into how you feel about the game? Kind of like, you know, one of those things, it just couldn't live up to that, and it was so built up in your head that it might have spoiled the experience for you slightly, or made you kind of more hyper aware to everything instead if you had experienced it at the same time as everybody else.
I think I did. I think I did have it kind of a little bit built up for me. And like I said, I mean, there's some really cool moments. Like the art is really great. Just the sound and music are really good. Like there's some pretty clever moments here and there, but it just it's kind of like peaks and valleys. Like there's some really high highs in that game, but in between that is just like, okay, I'm in another gray room. I have to push some more boxes to jump on this thing, and it just never really kind of it would go from like 100 to 0 to 100 like just a little too often for me to really kind of get super engaged in it. But yeah, that's my little inside piece. Stan, did you want to move on to No Man's Sky and discuss the leaked copy that a Redditor paid like $1,200 for on eBay?
2,000, something like that. Well, no, 1,300. It was 1,300. Yeah. Yeah,
that's too much money, because if he'd have waited 2 weeks, he could buy it for 60. Fucking what?
So,
but then we wouldn't be talking about this Redditor whose name we all remember.
Exactly. This person probably had more money
who felt
than
remorse, who felt remorse about what he did and felt bad, and took down his videos because he was feeling bad about doing what he did.
I thought his videos were taken down because Hello Games took them down.
It got taken off of Daily Motion. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Holy Mary, Mother of God.
There's porn on
just
Daily
to kind
Motion.
just to kind of like get the general consensus, the general like kind of story beat here. So, a leaked copy got out there on eBay. This guy purchased it and started putting up gameplay and kind of going through. And a lot of the claims, and let's just say he didn't have exactly the most it wasn't exactly a 5-star experience. I mean, there were a lot of bugs he ran into. It didn't really look like the core gameplay loop was. I mean, he definitely mentioned that he was kind of burning through the game pretty quickly, but
yeah, he said he beat it in 30 hours.
Yeah, he said he got to the center of the universe, which is quote unquote beating the game in 30 hours. Which for a full retail game, 30 hours is pretty good.
30 hours is fine, except for that Hello Games was saying it'll take up to 1,000, and it'll be a community effort to reach the center of the galaxy. Guess that was wrong. Like I think I talked to Mike about this maybe several days ago. Like I love the game Doom 2016. I think everyone here, maybe we should share Steam accounts or something, or like share Steam libraries. I think everyone here should play it if you like first-person shooters, because that'll make you say, I'm in. I'm back at first-person shooters. Bring on more. But and Doom 2016 was sold to me as, here is a fun little single-player campaign that'll have multiplayer in it, and you can make your own maps, and the single-player campaign can be beaten in about 10 to 12 hours, depending on how good you are. By the way, it took me about 11 and a half. And I got exactly what I was looking for out of that game. If you told me Doom was going to be this huge multiplayer experience that's going to take me up to 500 hours and I'll have to beat it co-op, and then I still beat it in 11 and a half hours, that disappoints me. My expectations were set to the moon, and I never left the troposphere. You know what I mean?
Even if it is like a pretty
Even if it is a
sweet
great game. Yeah.
It's like you kind of need to underpromise and overdeliver. And to Hello Games' credit, I mean they tried like hell to like not talk about that game and not and really try and back away from that stuff. But I mean just look at the like some of the early days of that subreddit after that game came out. Like this is the only game I'm ever gonna have to play. Like how I'm gonna discover life, new kinds of life in No Man's Sky. It's like this.
Yeah. And I know, you know, I reference Giant Bomb a lot, but they talked about this on the Bombcast, and they were pointing out that a lot of the things that were said about this game wasn't said by the developers, it was said by the community.
No, the developer
so
did
yeah,
say it would take up to 1,000 hours, and it'll be a community effort to get to the center of the galaxy. So when
yes, they said that,
does
but
it in 30 hours. That's the problem.
Well, but here's the thing: we also don't know if he actually has a full release copy of the game. We don't know, you know, if it was a debug build or if it was an earlier build of the game.
Sure.
He also, you know, because of the procedurally generated nature of the game, you know, there's probably a scenario in which somebody is put a lot closer to the quote unquote center of the galaxy than somebody else.
Maybe, but there's only so many scenarios where like this plays out to where it becomes like, yeah, he just had the super luck of the draw. Apparently, he found a way to like exploit some fuel in material games.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Is like he was also playing like somebody, you know, kind of like a reviewer would, and he was like trying to super mainline and hardline the game to get through it to, you know, hit a deadline or something like that. That's not how your typical consumer is going to necessarily play or experience the game. They're going to do a lot more exploration. They're going to be feeling a lot more. They're going to be trying to explore different planets and see what's going on instead of just trying to find a glitch and like hammer on that and jet set to the center.
It wasn't a glitch.
I mean,
it was he found the material, or he found a way to get that material and just keep selling it and just get to the center of the galaxy. I mean, that's not really a glitch. That's just taking advantage. That's min-maxing.
Yeah. I feel like the one thing I want to say about this like game, I hope that, I mean, because people have read this, you know, less than like stellar kind of feedback about the extended preview of this game, and have been freaking out. I hope people kind of take the time and think like, okay, well, what if like, I guess I want to like, I mean, it's procedural generation, but they are very different games. Like, imagine if Minecraft got the kind of like pre-release attention that this game did.
I mean, it did. Minecraft
I mean, not while it was like, I mean, not while it like when it first came out into like alpha and like some of the really early days when it like just came out there, like put Minecraft in this team in like in the position of No Man's Sky. Like, I really just hope that I'm gonna feel really bad for these guys if they get slammed for not creating the people's like the only video game anybody ever needs because of a AAA kind of hype engine that's been behind this game since almost day one.
I think it's a lack of communication. Like, there is a certain point where there is a community management or social engagement from Hello Games that says, here's what the game is going to be like. And I get they want to keep the mystery tightly bound, but they were
at a certain point. You're right, Stan. They were like they were almost a little too coy about how they talked about this game at times, to a point that where no one really had a good solid idea what was going on and kind of the imagination kind of ran wild.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly, my outlook or opinion of this game has not really changed at all. I'm still interested in the game. I'm still going to wait and see, like I said, because I don't think it's a day one purchase for me, especially since the baby Metroid will probably be coming right around the time that the game comes out. So that's not really a good time to get a grandiose epic like that. But I'm still excited for it. I'm still looking forward to seeing what what this game is about, and what's different. Because I just don't believe that this person got like a full build of the game. There's got to be something different, I would imagine. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? I'm still pretty excited.
This news has actually kept it from making it a day one purchase for me, because it was going to be. Because I love space epics, I really do. Like, I still love Elite Dangerous, but I dumped 80 hours into Elite Dangerous, and I have plenty left to do. If this guy can min-max...
I bet that'll be the case for No Man's Sky. I bet for your average person like you and I, you'll hit 80 hours and still have plenty of shit left to do.
Maybe? I'm not so sure anymore, because I min-max from time to time. I mean, it just depends on what it is exactly I'm doing. And if I figure it out, if this guy who had no idea what was going on in the game figured it out, and he's like the only person in the world that actually has a copy of the game, it couldn't have been that hard. You know what I mean?
I
don't know. I honestly don't know.
There's a part of me that just doesn't believe it. There's a part of me that also is like, how?
I mean, because it did sound like there's some pretty some pretty glaring kind of issues with with his experience that would certainly be addressed in a day one kind of patch if something like that were to exist.
I refuse to believe that I wish we didn't live in a world where a human being was stupid enough to pay $1,300 for a game that's coming out in 2 weeks.
People have paid more for
fucking
less.
Do something better with your money. I know.
This is so minor to me. I just don't even care about that.
Do something better with your money.
Like spend it on Clash Royale.
Yeah,
obviously.
I mean, you're mad about this, but there are people that spend. There are people out there that spend $50,000 a month on Clash Royale. These people exist.
And I hate those people too. I hate all of them.
You know, and I say congratulations to those people because, clearly they can most likely afford it if they're doing that, so good for them.
Good for them. Yeah.
That's great.
Let's not hate on that. You guys want to go ahead and move forward? So this one's
I don't know how much
to me and Josh's heart. He's almost done. The guy that's creating another Metroid 2 remake is almost done.
Yeah, I think we're just a few short days out from getting another Metroid 2 remake.
Wait for Nintendo to hit him with the cease and desist.
Okay, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I don't think so either. But wouldn't that just be the kick in the dick?
At the time of recording, we are 1 day, 16 hours away from Project AM2R. For real quick before we go on, for those of you who don't know, it is a fan-made remake of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, in the style of Metroid Zero Mission. So it has this very similar art style, movement and whatnot. So it's basically all of Metroid 2, but redone for the modern age. And it looks beautiful. I've played all the betas and the test levels and all that stuff throughout the time, and I'm really excited for this game. But I don't think that it will get taken out because he's been working on this thing for 9-10 years almost.
It's been a really long. I mean, there was that point where he took a break because he had a child, and he updated his blog. He's like, "Hey guys, life happened. I gotta." And then, a couple years later, after he's got that whole situation in order. He's like, "I'm back, bitches. I'm back in it. Let's go."
I'd check the blog every once in a while, and there for a while I was like, you know what, this is gonna be, because there have been other Metroid remakes or fan projects that have just gotten abandoned. And you're like, you know what, this is probably another one of those. It was a good run, and then he came back and like, oh, and he's like, I'm in it. There was even a time where he his computer had exploded and he lost a bunch of files.
Yeah.
But it's one man doing all of this, all the art, engine, music, everything. He's done it all from beginning to end.
It's been longer than 10 years.
We've been waiting a while, but yeah, it's been
This is an epic. And yeah, that's why I'm saying, wouldn't it be the kick in the dick if when it finally comes out, Nintendo's like, oh, stop. Just stop. It's like, what are you doing with Metroid? Blast Ball? Federation Force? Because that's what the people wanted.
That would be. I saw people posting, because some people in the Metroid subreddit were like, "But what if?"
Yeah,
and they're like, "Okay, come on, that'd be fucked up." But they're like, as long as he gets one copy out for us to distribute amongst each other, that's all we need. Like, oh man. But I am pretty excited. Metroid 2 is a good game, but man,
the Game
playing
Boy one?
the Game Boy one,
It's not good. It's probably
good
the
game.
worst in the series, and I'm including other M's.
I think that it's just the Game Boy didn't really lend itself to those mechanics in the best way. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I think Metroid 2 in a fresh coat, exploring the planet, seeing all the different Metroids. I think that's got a lot of, Metroid 2 is the reason why the Varia suit and the Power suit are different looking, because they didn't have colors on the Game Boy and they had to have a way to visually represent the change. So that's when the shoulder pads came into play. So, it gave us some important stuff.
Yeah, no, it's an important game in the series. I mean, you need to know where the baby Metroid came from, and you need to also recognize that Samus is a woman that will commit genocide if someone tells her to. Let's not forget that. Samus committed genocide against a sentient race because she was told to do it.
That's a hot take.
Not that she was told. Not that she was told, because she was paid.
She was paid to commit. She's up there with the Nazis when you really think about it.
Hey, you kill those face suckers too if you could. If you
Sam-
got paid.
So you're telling me Samus deserved other M?
So the story of Metroid is that Mike went there. Mike went no one deserved other M. I mean, the story.
Was it something I said?
The story of Metroid is the space pirates took the Metroids, experimented on them, and found that they were powerful. And the Space Federation force says, well, we can't control them. Samus, here's some money. Go to this planet and kill them all so that no one can use them since we can't use them. That's fucking dark when you really, really take the time to think about that.
Fuck them.
And this is like one of the only games where she's actually doing the role of bounty hunter.
Yeah, I mean, she's there murdering shit because she got paid to do it.
I've played Metroid 2. I liked it. I don't think it's great. I think it's kind of there. But I am very, very excited for this remake because it looks fun. It looks really, really fun. It looks hard, too.
Yeah.
It looks horrifying. Like, he actually made, like, the alpha Metroids, like, scary to encounter.
Yeah.
Because you have a limited amount of missiles.
I would highly expect that once this is out, I will be streaming it. So make sure you're following us on Twitter and Facebook to see when I stream it, so that you can watch that, because it's gonna be a good time. Maybe I'll record it too.
You let me know when you stream that. I want
Who
to
knows?
watch this. I also want to stream
Yeah.
later on. I want to stream the original Star Fox 2. Because the itch is there. And I need to play the original Star Fox 2.
Do you have a copy?
Nah.
Which copy do you have? That's the. There are a couple different builds, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah. We'll get into that. We'll talk ROMs.
Yeah.
Because there's no other way.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? There's not really much going on.
There's some Overwatch news I think Mike had in mind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's some summer game stuff. So you get. I mean, it's been covered pretty heavily. This isn't one I really want to talk about, but there's some new skins that are like. There's some fun skins and other fun stuff. There's like a new brawl called Lucioball, which is basically Overwatch's like rough. It's like the rough and dirty cut of Rocket League. I played a little bit of it and I thought it was like all right. I was like, I mean, I'd rather Rocket League's much better, but like, I really appreciate, at the very least, I appreciate just how fucking crazy that is. That they're like, we're gonna super mod our game and add jump pads and speed boosts on the wall riding. and make it like Rocket League type thing, like that as the brawl, like that is super crazy, and I'd love to see them try more like crazy brawl stuff like that. The other stuff I wanted to talk about, I know I've mentioned this a bunch of times before, but there's been a lot of kind of ARG type stuff going on about a new character. Again, the name is Sombra. It's presumed to be some sort of stealth character, and people are finding secret codes like in the Summer Games trailer, and finding like secret like circular codes in the sky, like in the skies of like the Dorado map, and trying to like decode stuff like that. So we've gone full. No, I'm serious, Dan. We've gone full Da Vinci Code here, and shit is popping off. So there's like a Reddit like voice chat you can join to like go kind of groupthink this if you think you can crack some codes, because they're getting pretty tough with some of the stuff that they're doing. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on, because we might be getting a new character revealed sooner than later, honestly.
I really just hope that they pull like a bait and switch, and that all of the stuff like leads to Sombra, and like makes everybody think all this stuff, and then they just release a different character. Be like,
it's like, no, fuck you, have a tank. Here you go, bang.
You did all this work. Here's actually the loudest character we've ever made.
That would be
the biggest, browshest, loudest.
Here comes some doom.
Here
comes some Doomfist coming at you.
Their ultimate actually makes them visible to every character on the enemy team.
Makes them slower. It slows them down. It makes them just harder to kill. It makes them like louder. They go max volume on your speakers.
Yep.
Here comes the Doomfist.
That would make me so incredibly happy, because while I find these kinds of internet sleuths fascinating, the kind of shit that they can see and find and I would never ever think of, I also hate them because they're terrible, and they do some good things sometimes, but they also do a lot of really shit things, and so I think it'd be really funny. But hey, that's just me.
Most video game companies.
You're right. That is just you. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, it's meant for community engagement, and it's very cheap community engagement. You don't say anything. You just put tiny little hints here and there, and then watch everyone lose their effing minds. Like that subreddit Mike was talking about.
Yep.
Can confirm.
And
am losing mind.
With a game that now has over 15 million players,
Daily.
And brought in $500 million in the first half of 2016.
In the first 2 months, sir. You get it right.
Yeah.
Jeebus.
The top comment on this is just, I just sometimes go there just because out of sheer boredom and just to see how it's doing. The top comment on the Battleborn Twitter was, "Where's Sombra?" Just people being dicks.
For a second, I thought that that the Battleborn account tweeted that. I'm like, damn, like I know a lot of people, but not a lot of people are playing your game. But good lord, but that makes more sense.
Can you imagine if the Battleborn Twitter just
your game came out? It's something.
I think there still.
Thanks, Sonic.
I think there are still people playing Battleborn. I do believe so, but it's just a different game. You know, it's there.
There's one match at any given time.
Be nice.
Highly exclusive.
Stop.
Well, that's all I
You know what isn't highly exclusive?
Oh, no. Here we go.
Following us here on YouTube. It's really easy. All you have to do is click the subscribe button, and then you get all these hot videos delivered to you all the time.
That was a good one. All right, carry on.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was a good one.
You can go to Facebook.com, look up Unscripted Gaming, like us there. You can go to Twitter, and we are at unscript_gaming. You can also go to SoundCloud.com/unscripted-gaming. That way you can keep us with you in your pocket wherever you go. You can be in this unexclusive club because we love everybody.
You
Yeah.
guys should go
Yeah.
listen to some past podcasts and listen to the evolution of Josh's segues. They're getting better. They're definitely getting a lot
One
better.
step at a time, baby.
Yeah,
Well, I think that about wraps it up, fellas.
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. Good
All
job,
right.
everybody.
Well, hey, this has been Unscripted Gaming.
Whoa.
I'm Mike.
Oh damn! Oh! I wasn't ready for this. What?
What happened?
I'm Ray.
What-
Oh gosh.
You can put the air horns right here, Stan. Just right here, right here.
I'm Josh. Peace.